everybody. My name is Elias, and I'm here today to talk to you about why Taiwan should encourage more foreigners to start a business in this country. So, first of all, I am from Sweden. Has any of you traveled to Sweden? Have you been to Sweden? Somebody over there? Great. Sweden is a cold country. I haven't lived there since 1996. I love Taiwan. Um, and I've lived here in Taiwan now for 21 years. So I actually lived in Taiwan longer than I lived in Sweden. So one day I want to be able to say I'm Taiwanese. So today I'm going to talk about entrepreneurship. And I want to say that I am an entrepreneur. And I think I've always been an entrepreneur. So the first time I tried to start a business, I wasn't very old. I was about the same age as many of you, I think. I was 15 years old when I had the idea that Swedish people might want to wake up in the morning and there would be a bag of fresh bread waiting for them that somebody had delivered to them. And I could find bakeries that was interested in working with me. But when I tried to go and find somebody with a car, an adult, who could actually deliver the bread for me, no one wanted to work for me. Turned out that no one thought that this guy could be a boss. And then when I was 18 years old, the Swedish government for the very first time was auctioning off radio frequencies so that private companies could have their own radio station. And I thought it would be so cool to have my own radio station. Just imagine everybody had to listen to me. So I tried to raise the money so I could buy my own radio frequency. But this guy did not make anybody want to give them their money. Didn't work out. Instead, I moved to the US, started a couple of companies in the States while I was a student there. And then in year 2000, I came to Taiwan. And while in Taiwan, when I first got here, I started an internet company. And after about a year, I sold that company. And then I ended up starting Inspire. Inspire is a marketing company, pretty fun bunch of people working for a lot of international companies. So when we got to 2005, my company was big enough that I didn't really have to worry about, where my next paycheck was going to come. So maybe similar to Camila, I started thinking about how can I give back or how can I help other people. So I was thinking, well, when I started my business, I had a lot of problems and I didn't know who to ask. So I decided to organize an event. And so in 2005, I think I organized the very first event specifically for foreigners that lived in Taiwan who wanted to start a business. And I thought we were going to have 20, 30 people. We ended up having 127. So since then, I've organized many events specifically for foreign entrepreneurs. And then, about 10 years ago, I was on my way back to Sweden, and I was in Bangkok at the airport there, and I walked into a bookstore. And they had a whole wall full of a book called How to Start a Business in Thailand. And I'm like, why don't we have a book like that in Taiwan? Why when I started my business did I have to try to figure out everything by myself? So I came back to Taiwan and I spent 2 years researching and writing this book. And since then, a lot of people have read this and it has helped them to start their businesses here. And for the last 5 years, I organized an event called Dragon's Chamber, which is an event that gives foreign entrepreneurs a platform for them to get the resources that they need to start their businesses. And we have an alumni over here. So now you know a little bit about me. You know that I am a foreign entrepreneur. You know I work with foreign entrepreneurs, and you know I care about foreign entrepreneurs. Now here's the question. Why should you care about foreign entrepreneurs? Why should Taiwan care about foreign entrepreneurs. Can somebody please tell me what these companies have in common? These 6 companies all were co-founded by a foreigner. So Tesla, you might know, is an American company. And the co-founder of Tesla is Elon Musk, who is from South Africa. Google, another American company, co-founded by Sergey Brin. A lot of people don't know that he actually came from Russia. Deliveroo is a UK company. It's like Uber Eats or Food Panda, and they were also co-founded by a foreigner. Serendipity is a Swedish company. 2 young boys came to Sweden as refugees, and about 15 years later, they founded a company that is now worth $500 million. All right, how about these 3 companies? What do they have in common? They're not all searches, but they are American companies that were all co-founded by somebody that was born in this country, here in Taiwan. So somebody was born here, they moved, went to the US where they were foreigners and they started this company. So what would the US be like if they didn't have their foreign entrepreneurs? It would be a very different country, right? Imagine if we didn't have YouTube or Yahoo or Google, right? So what about Taiwan? Who do we have in Taiwan that is foreign entrepreneurs? Well, you met Camila, you've seen me, but let me tell you about a few others. This guy over here, top left, he's also from Sweden. He came to Taiwan in 1989, and he started a company called SHL Group. And they now have about 3,500 employees in Taiwan. Sorry. Sean there, Big Mark. They are using blockchain technology to, I think, solving something with data integrity. My friend Nick up there runs a company called Face. He's trying to build a better design software. And the guy, like to the left of me up there, he brought delicious German food to Taiwan. And I saw the news today that his latest company just went public in Canada. And okay, you're too young to drink, most of you, but you might know that Kavalan whiskey is a famous Taiwanese brand of whiskey. What you might not know is that their design, their logo, was designed by a company called Sub Pharma, which is run by these 2 gentlemen who's from the UK. So we can see, there are hundreds and hundreds of foreign entrepreneurs on this island. And this is a picture from an event my company did together with Taipei city government. We also did a survey about foreign entrepreneurs. So let me tell you a little bit about it. So foreign entrepreneurs, what do they do? Well, the biggest type of business they do is service. We get trading, we get technology, and so on. The red one there, 8%. That's restaurants. And I want to point that out because in many cases when we think about foreign entrepreneurs, we think about restaurants. We think about, the Italian guy who starts the Italian place, and the Korean guy who, sets up the Korean restaurants, right? As a matter of fact, there was a TV show on TVBS called Taiwan Shuguja, and they interviewed foreign entrepreneurs. 99% of the people they interviewed were all restaurant owners. And I asked them, why is it all restaurant owners? And they said, oh, that's all we know. And I told them I could introduce them to a few more, but for some reason they didn't call me back. And why did they start companies in Taipei? Well, 48% they said, well, because I see an opportunity here. A lot of people said, because I live here. Well, so similar to me, right? It doesn't matter where you put me, in any country, I will start a company there. And I just happened to, fall in love with a Taiwanese girl and end up in Taiwan. And then quality of life, 10%. So what I can see is that very few foreigners come to Taiwan specifically to start a business. They come here to work, to study for various reasons, and they fall in love with this country and they want to stay here, and entrepreneurship ends up being the best way. Here we have a very good reason to support foreign entrepreneurs. The average SME, that's average small company in this country, has 6 employees. When my company asked foreign entrepreneurs back in 2012 how many employees they had, they said 8 on average. And back in 2016, it said 10. And guess what? It's not just my survey that says this. The Harvard Business School had a survey of foreign started companies in the US, and also there, foreign started companies had more employees. So, more foreign entrepreneurs, more employment in Taiwan. And immigrants start more companies. If we're looking at the US, um, immigrants are about twice as likely to start a company as Americans. And in the UK, immigrants set up about 14% of all companies. So how about here in Taiwan? Well, 3.5% of the people in this country are foreign residents, but only about 1.3% of the companies are foreign started. So I did the math, okay? I'm not so good at math, but I'll do okay. And I calculated that if foreigners in this country did start as many companies as the foreigners in the US or UK, there should be about 100,000 more companies on this island, and they would hire another million people. That would mean we had no unemployment on this island. And a company that is founded by a foreigner will kind of be a global company from day one, won't it? A foreigner will have connections back in their own countries. That could be suppliers, that could be customers. And research has actually shown that people who are ready to pack up their bags and move to another country, they kind of have that growth mindset already. So that they are more likely to look for a way to create something. And of course, we can also see something that maybe exists or doesn't exist. For example, in Sweden, we have a very, very smelly fish called surströmming. And here in Taiwan, we have the stinky tofu, right? So maybe there is a trading opportunity here for food that smells like, you know what? Masai balls, maybe. And just like Tesla and just like Google, most foreigners actually end up starting a company together with a local person. So that means that it's an international team from the very beginning, right? And that means that this team can now learn from the best from Taiwan and the best from the other countries. So I'm from Sweden. What could we possibly learn from Sweden? Maybe. Check this out, salary development. If we would put salaries for Taiwan and Sweden at 0 in 1981, and then we look at the big thick line there, we can see that salaries in Taiwan went up to about 2,000. And since then, it's been very, very flat. In Sweden, on the other hand, it went up like crazy. And one reason for that is because they had 25 days of vacation every year. In Taiwan, you have to work for one single company, the same company, for 20 years to be able to have that kind of vacation. And what do they do with the vacation then? Well, 8% of Swedes own a boat, and 6% of Swedes have a summer house that they can use for about 3 days every summer when it's nice enough. Right? So, I think, how could Taiwan maybe emulate some of this? Well, I think if Taiwanese companies could become a bit more trustworthy, not trustworthy, trusting, so that people in those companies can own their own future a bit more, where the boss can trust them to achieve more. They could earn more money for their companies, they could earn more money for themselves, and they could earn more time that they could go on vacations. And this is an article from Tensha where they talk about that Taiwan needs to become a multicultural society. I think that's very true. And there are a lot of government programs right now that are trying to promote for foreigners to move to Taiwan, right? There was some news, I think, yesterday that the executive yuan has approved a new law that is going to make it easier to promote Taiwan for foreign talents. But when I came to Taiwan 20 years ago, and I think it's still true today, A lot of Taiwanese companies, they were telling me, okay, we need you for your English skills, but we don't want your foreign ideas. They told me to my face. So I think a lot of Taiwanese companies are actually not really ready for that foreign employee yet. So if we had more foreigners starting a company, maybe they could become that beachhead, that those talent can come into Taiwan, first work for a company co-founded by a foreigner, and maybe later they can be hired by a only Taiwan company, so to speak. You know, immigrants are seen as kind of suspicious in many countries around the world. You know, we see it on the news every day, where foreigners are looked upon as some people who are coming to steal your jobs or something like that. But as maybe you have learned today, is that people like me who come to another country, we might bring new skills, we might bring some money with us, we might bring some new connections, and guess what? Together, we can actually create even more. We can make a even better country by knowing what's happening, not just in this country, but around the world. So I would like to say, let's encourage more foreign entrepreneurs to come to Taiwan and set up their businesses here, and we will have some fun. So, Taiwan,